Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are here to discuss Kandi's recent speak on it regarding the part 1 reunion. Let me start off by saying that I watched it so that you don't have to. It's 2 parts, and this is no shade, but Miss Kandi Burress can talk. Because there were some points where I was like, oh my gosh, get to the meat and the potatoes. Like, I want to hear about Porsha's lies and Drew's foolishness. Like, I don't want to hear about this. So, I don't want to be doing the same thing. I want to keep this really cute and short and brief. So, let's just get right on into it. So, the speak on it starts off with Don Juan asking about the whole reunion, looks and all the outfits. Kandi says that she was really pissed when Bravo sent out those pictures of their reunion looks. She was mad at how they caught her at such a bad angle because the outfit really didn't give in the pictures, and she swears that the outfit looked a lot better in person. She also goes on to say how she was a little bit shocked that nobody else was really on theme. The theme was 50 Shades of Grey meets Burlesque meets the dungeon. So it's supposed to be a very sultry and sexy affair. So she says that Latoya and Marlo were the only other ladies who somewhat hit the nail on the head with the whole theme. The rest of the ladies were in ball gowns, so it really made the juxtaposition of her being in this latex number and them being all high-end, it made it look like such a stark contrast. So we get all that out the way. Don Juan goes on to ask Kandi about her facial expressions before the reunion even started. He points out how she seemed over it by the time they sat down. Kandi says that she was a little peeved because there are so many people coming in and out of her room while she was getting dressed and ready. And then she goes on to address everybody making a big deal about how she sat at the end of this reunion. And we all know that when you sit at the end, that means that you are most likely not going to be asked to return back for the next season. It also means that your storyline for that season was weak, and therefore you're not going to get the top seat right next to Andy or even the middle. Kandi says that she didn't care where she sat, and it really made no never mind to her. I would not be surprised if this is Kandi's last season on the show, especially hearing all these rumblings about them trying to get old girl back. Remember Phaedra Parks? I couldn't stand her, by the way, but I digress. But anyway, it's just not lost on me. These rumblings about her coming back on for season 14 and then Kandi sitting at the end. I mean, it's just a theory, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So now Kandi lets it be known that there is so much stuff that gets cut out when they film these reunions. She also lets it be known that they cut out a lot of her scenes in this reunion. And on top of that, they turned her mic down really low during the reunion. Kandi goes on to say how they cut out her part where she addresses Drew about the whole native costume debacle. And she even said that, Drew, what are you talking about? You were clearly at a Halloween party yourself when you wore that native outfit. Like, you're sitting up here telling a story. She doesn't want to say outright that Drew lied, but she says that Drew told a story, and she actually tells a few stories in part 2 and part 3 of this reunion. Well, hopefully we see it. Who knows if production is going to cut that out by the time we get to next Sunday. Because at this rate, it's looking like the production team for RHOA just can't be trusted. So then Kandi brings up the whole retweet debacle about how Kenya retweeted a fan's tweet regarding the whole scene with Josiah and his biological father being a little cringeworthy. And Kandi says, you know how I am. I don't like when people bring kids into things, like the kids should be off limits. But Kandi goes on to say that she and Kenya had a side conversation afterwards, and Kandi says that she let Kenya know that she was wrong and that she shouldn't have retweeted that tweet. And Kandi also says, because if someone was talking about Brooklyn, you would have been upset. If we're going to be fair, we have to address Drew constantly saying Brooklyn's name after Kenya was telling her behind the scenes, please stop saying my daughter's name. I'm not allowed to say her name on air. I'm not allowed to show her on air. Please stop bringing her up. And Drew didn't respect Kenya's wishes, but again, I digress. So then Kandi gets to talking about the whole Ralph and the whole Tampa debacle. She says again that she doesn't believe anything that came out of his mouth, but she makes it clear that she does like Drew and Ralph together, but she just does not buy that story whatsoever. She doesn't believe that he was by himself in Tampa of all places. Don Juan even makes mention that he gave the same sorry answer to Bravo that he gave when he was on a recent episode of Speak on It. So he's like, Ralph didn't have to get all suited and booted just to say the same tired lie. Kandi does go on to say that she understands the whole backstory of why he left for 3 days. And she even goes on to say that he talked about the backstory of their argument on the reunion, but they cut it out. I feel like production has cut out the best parts of this season, and I just can't wrap my head around why. We're getting all of the scraps, and they are cutting out the filet mignon of the story. It's really sickening. I'm going to need the production company who does RHOP, Beverly Hills, New Jersey, to come in and save the day for Atlanta, because this production team, I will keep saying it until the cows come home, this production team for Atlanta has been absolutely awful. I don't understand what the F is happening here. We're not getting any of the good stuff. Kandi also addresses Latoya, and she brings up how Latoya actually was not going to attend the reunion because she was feeling under the weather. And she says that she called Latoya and was like, get your ass up here now. Like, you better come to this reunion, girl. Like, don't play. So she goes on to say that Bravo got her on a late flight to New York and she was there. She then goes on to call Latoya Hurricane Latoya because that's how she came into the reunion. What we didn't see was that Latoya went all the way off on, I think it was Ralph's barber who came into her room to hand her vitamin C packets. And Latoya was calling Ralph everything but a child of God. And she was also calling him Ralphie instead of Ralph. Kandi says that Latoya was going off so bad that even Andy had to tell her, Latoya, this is unacceptable. This isn't that kind of show. Like, you know, tone it down. Kandi was like, wait, what? Since when is this not that kind of show? Because other husbands from the past have been called bitches before. Like, I don't understand what these new rules are. So Kandi goes on to say that she wants to give Drew the benefit of the doubt about not knowing that her team barged into Latoya's room with a camera in her face and vitamin C packets, but she just doesn't know. Like I said in my recap, I don't believe it for 1 minute that Drew had no idea what was going on. I think that she set whoever went into that room up to do so because she just doesn't like Latoya. So Don Juan pivots the conversation to ask about this season and what led to the slow start. Kandi says that it was a mix of things. It was the fact that we were filming during COVID. We didn't really know what we could or couldn't do because of the pandemic, and also because things were cut out and because we did not get a full cast scene until the South Carolina trip. So Kandi goes on to say that one person cannot carry this show. It is a collaborative effort and they all need each other and each other's storylines for the show to go smoothly. I can definitely say that nobody on this cast can carry this show on their back. There are very few franchises where I feel like one person can carry the show. I would say Teresa Giudice is one of the few who actually could carry a franchise on her back. And I would even say that Bethany Frankel could carry New York on her back when she was on there, because hate them or love them, the both of them do make some excellent TV, but that's neither here nor there. So Kandi addresses the fans' comments about her using the whole block and the back child support as a storyline. Kandi says, I would never use something like that as a storyline. What you see is what you get. Like, I only show you guys what's going on in my life, and that's just what happened to be going on when the cameras were rolling. She says that she filed for the back child support before Riley turned 18 because once a kid turns 18, then it's harder to get the back child support that's owed to them. She goes on to say that this was actually Riley's idea. We did hear her say exactly that at the reunion, but she says that Riley deserves that money. And she does. Block should pay. He is her father, and he needs to take care of his responsibility, period. Kandi then goes on to tackle the rumors that I guess Block was putting out in the blogs, saying that Kandi was trying to mess up his family. She sets the record straight that Block has never been married to her knowledge, and then she goes on to discuss that they dated briefly, and it ended so soon because he was cheating and seeing other women, including his first baby mama, behind her back, and that's why things went sour. She also lets it be known that Block at one point had millions of dollars, so it really shouldn't be an issue about him paying the child support. So now we finally get to the main attraction, Porsha's IG Live. That made no sense. Kandi, first off, says that she would have preferred that Porsha come on her show, speak on it to clear everything up and not go on IG because her IG Live only left people with more questions. She goes on to say that this wasn't a Black Lives Matter issue. It was more of a friend putting text messages on blast issue. She says that she's noticed this pattern with Porsha where Porsha likes to befriend folks who she's not cool with. Kandi reveals that Nene had sent out a text in June, and then a screenshot of a group text that had Nene, Porsha, Tanya, and Marlo in it was sent to a blogger. And the blogger started shading Kandi. And Kandi was rightfully pissed off about it. And I think anybody would be really angry to find out that you are being talked badly about in a side group text with folks who are supposed to be your friends or colleagues at the very least. So Kandi says that, long story short, the other ladies were upset that she was reaching out to the network. So Kandi goes on to say that this particular blogger was comparing her to Terry Crews, calling her Candy Cruz, and just saying some really nasty stuff. So she was getting more and more pissed off as the days went by. Kandi also says that Marlo and Nene were surprisingly quiet in that group text as well. Like, they didn't say much. It was mostly those other two who were talking about Kandi like a dog. So here's where the disconnect really stemmed from. The other ladies wanted to set up a conference call with True Entertainment. I guess that's their production company. And they wanted to ask them for a donation. Kandi was thinking further ahead. She was like, well, what's a donation really going to do? Like, where is it going to be going? Like we need more than a donation. Kandi says that she was reaching out to the network because she wanted to see more Black faces in the top seats at the network. She also wanted there to be Black interns selected from HBCUs. Say what you want about Kandi, but you have to give her her props. She was really forward thinking, and she really was doing a lot to make sure that there is more representation in these networks. And that's a big deal because while we might get a few franchises like Atlanta and Potomac and Married to Medicine shows, we still need representation behind the scenes in the boardrooms. So big ups to Kandi for really trying to push through a whole initiative of having more Black faces at NBC Universal. Kandi says that she hopped back into the group chat with all of the cast, and she was so excited about her ideas. And she said she thought it was weird because she didn't get a lot of responses from the other ladies. And then on top of that, Porsha sent her a really cryptic text saying, well, I'm glad you got what you wanted. So Don Juan goes on to ask about the infamous deleted scene that was at Todd's birthday party between Kandi and Porsha. Kandi says that when she confronted Porsha about those shady texts that were exposed to the blogger, all Porsha said to her was, well, you weren't meant to see those texts. Not an apology. Not, I'm so sorry, Kandi, please forgive me, I was wrong, but you weren't meant to see those texts. And I'm like, for Porsha to be hollering and wailing about accountability, for her not to take accountability and apologize to Kandi for doing some real underhanded stuff and being really nasty and pretty much jealous that Kandi was really trying to do the damn thing and really had a lot of plans in motion to help our folks. So Kandi says that she just let it blow over. She said she wasn't going to harp on it. Kenya was there overhearing everything. That's when Kenya's wheels started to turn, and she said, oh, Porsha wants to be the only one getting credit for her activism work. So then they start arguing, and Kandi goes on to say that after the party, Porsha was really upset and didn't want to film for the remainder of the weekend. And that was when she called up the network and said, I do not want this scene to be shown because it's going to make us look bad. No, it's going to make you look bad. It shows that you were jealous and you wanted to steal the spotlight and get all the praise. For you to be upset at another Black woman trying to spearhead an entire initiative to get other Black people in the rooms, like, you sound crazy. And I'm so mad that the network went ahead and chopped that scene off because it would have exposed Porsha for the fraud that she is. If you have not done so already, after you're done watching this, please head on over to my girl Contrary Canary's channel. She did an entire breakdown about Porsha's IG Live and how Porsha is just a bold-faced liar. And it was amazing. It was to the point. She hit every nail on the head. It's just becoming apparent that Porsha is a phony, and she wants all of the credit for herself in regards to her activism work. Kandi also points out how that text thread Porsha kept trying to show on her IG Live, it was only a partial text thread. She didn't show everything that was said. So Kandi was kind of like, okay, sis, if you're going to show it all. She hasn't been as forthcoming as she's trying to make herself out to be. Kandi makes it clear that she didn't benefit or receive a dime for that Black Lives Matter special that she had on Bravo a few months ago. She says that she wanted to make sure that a Black production company was hired by Bravo and would get the money and the EP credit. She goes on to say that it was 2 Black women who received the EP credits. Again, it shows how much Kandi has been doing behind the scenes to help usher Black people in. So Kandi also addresses the Vulture article. She lets it be known that Vulture reached out several months ago, and when Porsha kept saying on her IG Live, and Kandi, I wish you would have cleared some stuff up in that article. Kandi lets it be known that she only answered the questions that they asked her. She was not trying to intentionally throw anybody under the bus or shade anybody. She was just doing her part and answering what they were asking, period, point blank. Kandi also reiterates again that that text thread that she kept showing on her IG Live, those were only partial texts. She was not showing the entire text thread. So the speak on it is winding down with a few minutes to go. Kandi lets it be known that she was never trying to question Porsha's activism. She just wanted to address the shady text that she saw about her. That's it. That's all. All in all, I thought that the speak on it was informative. It definitely shows that Drew and Porsha are liars. And for some reason, production is painting them in a fantastic light. And people are going easy on them. I'm just not understanding it. But I'm praying and hoping that season 14, if all these ladies are asked back, I'm going to need this production team to be fired, and I'm going to need a production team that is going to show what's really going on. Stop cutting out pivotal scenes. Stop painting a certain person in a favorable light when she's nothing but a fraud. But y'all, let me know if you watched the Speak on It parts 1 and 2. Let me know your thoughts on everything. As always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye, guys.